Welcome to Best Whole New World, where you can have your best whole new world. You've got Melody Chadamoyo from Dublin, Ireland. And
Hi, everyone.
We are talking about creating love in this series, and tonight's hot topic we've been laughing about is dating and kids, because we mentioned the word, is somebody coming, and then we just got into, well, isn't that what dating's all about? How short or long it takes. And when you have kids, there's an issue. So there you go. No. Okay. Here we go. All right. Just to lighten things up.
It's good to laugh. It's always good to laugh. Yeah.
It's a release. And sometimes that's just as orgasmic.
Yes, it does.
It's been one of those days. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Melody. Welcome. What brilliant conversation is just ready to bubble out of your mouth today?
A few things that sometimes as women, we tend to use our children as a defense so that we don't date or we don't enjoy relationships because we think, my kids don't like it, or I'm too busy with the kids, or some other excuse. And it doesn't do you any good. If you don't look after yourself, if you don't give yourself what you need, you can't be the best for your children. And as well, some people would disregard their children altogether when they're dating and think that, their children, they don't know anything. They don't need to have a say or to have a relationship with the person they're dating. And this is when it gets serious, of course. It has stopped from being a one-night stand or something like that to being something that is more committed. Your children need to start their own relationship with that person so that at least there's harmony in the home when you grow together.
So there's like two extremes then. There's the one person that says, hey, man, I can't do any dating because I have to be so concerned about how my kids are going to feel about it, and I got to protect them. And they use the kids as an excuse to keep from dating. And then there's the other one. The other extreme over here is the person says, who cares about the kids? I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and we'll work that out later on. But you're going to talk about creating balance so you can go a little deeper in this conversation for all of those single women that are watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my experience, and this is a very new experience for me because my mom always had my dad and she never dated while I was, living with her. After I was born, I would say. But I would want to say that after my husband died, I did think about, the aspect of dating and how I would do it and all that. And I always knew, and I've always known this, that the fact that I'm happy is very important to me. And the fact that I'm happy should be important to my daughter as well. Mm-hmm. So we talked about it, and she would have been the one who came to me, and actually when I wasn't even near being ready at all. And she said to me, Mom, you need to find somebody. And I said, why do I need to find somebody? I'm okay as I am. And she said, no, because what Dad used to give you, I can't give you that. I can only be your daughter, but I can't be your husband. And I can't sleep next to you every night. And I said, oh, okay. So are you okay with this? And she said, yes, I'm okay with it. And so it was always, because she's very sensitive and she's conscientious. Mm-hmm. We talked about it. And I thought, that's a good idea. And I had not thought about dating at all at that point. I was still very much in the doldrums of grief and pain. But I started thinking about it. And I started also thinking about how I would do it. Because I had seen the other extreme. I had seen women who who start dating and they completely forget about their children and go and live this life, and they leave their children sometimes with their parents, and that's the end of that relationship. And I didn't want that. I also thought about the fact that my husband is dead, but it doesn't mean he stops being her dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we want all that harmony to still continue. We want her to be comfortable talking about her dad, discovering him as she's growing, discovering the type of person he was, and I'm the only person who can give her that. So all that had to come in. And in talking about this, I'm calling on women to consider the fact that, or to think about the fact that when you are happy, when you are joyful, when your life is full, you are a better person to people who live around you. And you're certainly a better parent to your child. But the most important thing you're giving, or gift you're giving to your child, is to tell them, or to show them rather, that their needs are very important. They are very important. Once they get that, they become more rounded and more compassionate towards themselves and towards you.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna just read because you can't see all the comments, correct?
No.
So Maria. So we're saying hi to Hope and Maria and whoever else is up there. Maria's saying, so when he was 5, that's her son. Oh, my son. That's the next part. I didn't have to interpret. I would not be good interpreter because I'm already interpreting just reading. Okay, so when he was 5, my son wasn't very happy for me to have a BF. A BF, that's not a BFF, that's just a BF, which would be a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Now I'm interpreting. I remember at some point him saying, I will take you out, Mummy. if he comes to me and says, Mummy, at 7, he comes to me and says, Mummy, we need a boyfriend. I want you to live. I want to live in a house. Okay. So, does he wants a dog, a cat, and a brother. See, so he's got bigger, grandiose ideas now. So is that possible that he's actually stepping into his desired future, and then kids do that and they then bring that to the mother, and the mother feels pressure to go out and date because the kid wants a replacement, sort of?
Well, I don't think so. I think the fact that at 5, he didn't want to share her with anybody. And that's the territorial masculine thing that they do. Boys tend to do things differently from girls. But so he would have been territorial because he didn't want to share her. But he's also growing up now and seeing other people with different lives, with families that are definitely different from the one he's experiencing. Right. And he's beginning to question that. And that's good. That means he's noticing things that are there or not there. It's very important for children to do that. And now maybe he's realizing, I'm lonely here. I want somebody else. And my mom can give me a brother or a sister. Usually it's a brother, because boys always want boys. and that's cool. It's good. But it doesn't mean it should give you pressure. It doesn't mean you should just go out and date anybody because your child wants you to do that. You still have to do your due diligence. You still have to work on meeting the person who suits you and who is also going to be compassionate towards your son. I remember reading this in a book, and it really touched my heart, that this guy was dating a woman with a son, and it got to a point where it got serious, and he was considering, marrying this lady. And he went to the son, and, because initially they had a heart-to-heart because he was getting serious about the mother. And he said, do you think I'm suitable for your mom? And the son said yes. But it wasn't because he was asking for permission. It was because he wanted to involve the son in his life. It's like he's saying, you are a part of me now. You're part of us now. And I'm part of you. And your say helps us to build something together. And that really touched me because the boy didn't expect that. because
Right.
he always thought, oh, adults, they're always telling me what to do. But in this case, he felt so respected and humbled that he developed an even deeper relationship with this man who wasn't really his dad, but who became a stand-in dad for his dad who had left his mom on a latch.
Right.
So sometimes, and I've seen this even in my grief, I'm going back to my grief now. When I was grieving, I always took Siobhan's needs, even though I was devastated and everything. I also would communicate with her how things were going with me, not to a depth that, I would go with an adult, but to some point where she would understand. Because then she also knew I was human. But the most important thing I noticed was it gave her permission to process her own pain.
Right.
So going back to dating, when you are talking to your children and especially, your sons, we're talking about dating and what they need or what they don't need, however you handle yourself is demonstrating how they should handle themselves as well and handle you.
Okay. I got another question for you.
Confused? Okay, go ahead.
No, I got another question. So I'm feeling this. It must be this Mercury going retrograde. It's a little bit going from being present to you and then wanting to be present to the questions that are coming from our audience. Now I'm going to see. I'm also going to just copy and see if I can get this as I'm doing this, and see if anybody can join us from the audience, and then they can come right up and I can add them. But meanwhile, Hope is saying here. So if you're ready to date. Da, 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 da. What are the first steps? And I don't like online dating. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Because one of the things I have to say about online dating, okay, I think that in some cases it streamlines what you want, because you have to focus on what you want versus what you don't want. You can't go on online dating and say, I don't want a guy who smokes, and I don't want a guy who does this. And I don't want a guy who leaves the toilet seat up, and I don't want a guy who swears or treats people. You have to say what you want, which is a different energy that is, so if you don't want to do online, take the same focus and say, what do you want in a guy first?
Exactly.
Then
what are you looking for? Yeah.
That's first step. Step one, what do you want?
How do you want to feel? It's very important when you're with this guy.
So the step one, if she's not going to do online dating, she's going to decide what it is she wants. And then my thing would be open up to the possibility that that person could show up in any particular case.
Yes.
But knowing that she's got kids, then what's step two? Let's say if she comes across somebody who wants to date.
Well, I would be honest as much as possible. Go out as much as you can, because it's not as easy when you're a mom to go out as much, especially if you're far away from family. But if you do have family members, rope them into minding your kids while you have 1 or 2 nights a week, or 1 night a week or something, or 1 night a month sometimes, because that's what's feasible. Just go out and have fun. If you love dancing, go dancing. If you love playing whatever, cricket, go play cricket. I don't know why cricket came into my mind. I don't even like it. and do that, because that's where you're going to meet like-minded people. You don't meet people while you are closed yourself indoors, and you certainly don't meet your people who resonate with you when you're screaming at your kids to shut up or do chores or whatever. It doesn't work like that. Right. But if you go out, with friends, one friend maybe, and just go out to enjoy yourself and take it as I'm going out to enjoy myself. I'm open to meeting whoever I meet, and be open to talking to people as well. Because sometimes, and I do this a lot, I say I'm going out, but I'm huddled up in the corner with my sister, and I don't talk to anybody else.
Aha, there you go. So she's like, I'm out, but still, he's not. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's process. So I think that might have answered your question, Maria, because Maria basically was then saying, so how do you get over the get over that state when your child, when you use your child as an excuse not to date? Oh, I thought your child didn't want you to. Okay, so if you've been using your child not to date, like I can't because of my child, what I just heard you say, which I think could be used, is that you have to actually coordinate your child to be taken care of one time or two times, so you know that opportunity is open for you. It's like cleaning out a cupboard. You letting go of stuff in your house and then discover that more new things come in. Usually when someone cleans something out, they discover money. So if you set the intention, then there's a new relationship. I just came back from feng shuiing someone's house, okay? And literally her papers were just signed. And I walked into this, the first time I've been to her house, and I walk in and I was like, well, there's the first part of your issue. You never had a relationship corner in your house. and she's like, oh, and they always wanted to build in that area. Okay. They wanted to extend in that area in their because they knew that they were missing that, like energetically. So they wanted to do it, but they never did it, and they never made the marriage work. You know, I mean, they spent a long time together, but had a lot of issues. So as we talked about that, and then we moved through this other area of her house, and she's like, she kept saying when I first got there, I just feel stuck, right? I just feel stuck. And I could feel the energy of the stuckness. And then I had to be present to it. And then poof, I was like, well, I just have to, I know this isn't the ideal situation, but I just have to move this sort of like to create a shift. And as I created that shift, then things started to unwind, and she did so great. She pulled things like that were permanently on the walls that had been there for 20 years, like shelves that she'd worked around the whole time, and we revamped her whole place. And she's like, I would never have ever arranged it like this. I never would have thought it like this. So it's like, just open up to the idea that you want to go out and date.
Yeah, open up to it. Like when I was letting go of stuff, like the study I'm sitting in right now was, when we set it up, it was my husband's study. He was going to finish his PhD in here. His computer was set up, everything was set up for him. It wasn't for me. And so after he died, I closed the door and I never came in here. We moved, a few months after, that's when he died. So we had lots of boxes, a lot of stuff that was in here that I didn't want to touch. And then one day I just said, I need to start shifting those things. There was this thing that kept driving me to come shift these things, to come move them and get rid of them. And eventually I gave in to the drive, and I came in here and I shifted things. And the relief of letting all that go, of packing things, that I did take something that I wanted to keep for my daughter for the future, but I also let go of a lot of things that belong to him that don't matter anymore, that he's never going to use. And I packed it all away, and I cleaned the room, and now I'm using the room, which is amazing. Because the room wasn't being used at all by anybody. And so it's that release, it's that energy shift. And the joy to me kept coming. I felt so happy having done that. I felt so connected with myself. And, I made more friends as a result. I don't know whether that's why, but I started connecting more with people outside that I wasn't doing because I was holding on to this, thing.
Right.
Or things. Yeah.
Yeah. So Maria is still wanting some more depth here, because she's saying, okay, so she was agreeing with us that too. But what she's saying also, how that fear that dating is gonna, like, she's not gonna have enough to give to her son. If she's out dating, it's somehow gonna pull her away from her son, right?
Yeah, I think that's just I mean, seriously, how much time do you spend with your son? Most of the time, our children want us present, but they don't want to be with us. They'll be doing their stuff over there, and you're doing your stuff over here, and the two of you are not interacting at all. That happens a lot, especially when he's 7. He starts to do stuff on his own. And also, one very important thing, wouldn't it be amazing if he had a male role model who was actually positive and great, that he could do stuff with boy stuff with that you don't understand, that he needs to get from a man? Wouldn't that be amazing? Because
Yes.
that's also a gift. It's a beautiful gift to give to our kids. That's why they were created mother and father. They knew both energies as they are growing up.
Right, but sometimes the mother and the father are just divorced, right? So the father is still present in their life, and so that's not the case. But I think that's very relevant to say, how much time are you actually spending? So that might be a step, Maria, is to look, like when you're home with your son, right? Is to see, so how much quality time the two of you spend together? And is there a space where you could have been out for an hour? Because I think a lot of women still do that are single parents. They do somehow find time to go, let's say, to the gym, or they do have time to maybe go grab a drink or a coffee with a girlfriend. And so both of those situations could be replaced with a date.
And a date. I think, because we call it a date, people think I'm going to meet the man I'm going to marry. No, you're not. Okay? You are just going out to have fun and interact with a male adult.
Yeah.
Take it like that. You're going out to play with a man. Not a child.
For some of you just started on this, Melody had brought this dating thing up, I think last fall. She kind of challenged us in the middle of the thing. There was like 4 or 5 people that were online with it about going out on a date. And I was just like, what? Because date to me was like that. Like, I'm going to get involved in a relationship again. And anyway, so I had to do my own work and threw that away. And by the next day, I'd cleared it all. And there was a knock on my door. And literally, there was a knock on my door. And it was a guy. No, he would not be my guy that I would be, going out with or spending my life with. But we just set it up. I said I agreed I would go on a date, and he knocked on the door and said, hey, did you want to go to wherever they were doing a trivia thing? Anyways, I was like, yes, because I had already designed that a date can just be fun. It was the very first time that I ever remember that I was talking with other guys. I was just being totally, completely myself. I was like out with this person, having fun with him, but I was not. I was like, in the past, I would have been like, do I have to impress him?
Yeah.
Once
you start wanting to impress him, all better off that. Yeah. Because if you're not being yourself, he's not going to see the real you. He's not going to fall in love with you. He's going to see this fake you who is trying to impress him when it's not necessary. So take it like a date is just out there, go have fun. You're playing. Except when we're adults, that's what we do. When we were kids, in Zimbabwe, we went out on the street and we kicked the ball around. Right. It wasn't called a date, it was just fun.
Girls were there. That song? Yeah. Isn't that Sydney? I could play it. Dun. Girls just want. Okay, does that help, Maria? I got to make sure that too. Yes. Okay, of course it helps, Maria. You're just supposed to give thumbs up or quit if she's still there. But yes, I think it's just the part of looking at your time honestly, finding out if you actually have time. Because that could be it, that your time is so jam-packed that you are feeling already guilty that you're not spending time with your son. Yes. So that's a whole other conversation about your whole life. But if you actually can see that you're doing other things, maybe they can have some date time and have some male fun.
Yeah. And then that fun can develop if then you see that this person actually is more interesting than you thought, or more attentive than you thought, or he makes you feel better than you thought he would, then it grows into something else. If you start with he needs to make sure he's suitable for me to be the next father of my child, that's too much pressure on anybody.
But I do like whatever movie that was. I think it was P.S. I Love You, and the girl goes and she walks up to the guy and she says, are you single?
Yeah.
And he says, yes. She goes, are you straight? And he's like, okay. And then do you have a job? Right?
Mm.
And then she like kisses him. And then she's like, no. And she just was kind of like, no, she was sorting. She was sorting. And she was like, if the kiss worked, then she was going to go on to the next part of the date, right? But otherwise, she's like, and that's the idea. Dating is just fun, having an experience. And then if it goes anywhere, you'll feel it and be led to it. And it'll be more natural introducing your kids.
Yes. And it's sorting as well. It's sorting what you wanted from what you don't want. You might see that actually, after 2 minutes, I really don't want to be here. Leave. Don't overextend things. And don't overextend yourself as well. And if you feel you're having a lot of fun, then have a lot of fun. And then maybe have another date or have another, play date. And continue to let it grow naturally. But in the meantime, you are expressing who you are and what you want. You are expressing this to this person so that at the end of it, when you decide whether to continue or to go separately, you have already sorted. You are not busy trying to impress him so much that he has no idea what you want and what you expect, which will create problems down the line.
Right. So dating and kids, step 1, decide that you're going to date.
Yes.
Decide what you would like in a person.
Yeah.
Make a decision of where you're going to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you need to get your kids taken care of, maybe it's just simply saying, I'm not going on a date. I'm going in a place where there's actually people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that you have to talk to other than your sister.
Yes. You had to bring it up, huh? Okay.
Dancing, I think, is a really good one, though, because I think dancing, when you're out doing Latin or salsa or, like that sense of connection with another person, you're engaging in an intimate way, but you're still having a boundary in place. And I think that's a great place to start for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's some good dancing, salsa dancing happening in Ireland, isn't there?
Oh, yes, there are loads of places for salsa dancing. I'm planning to go probably next week.
Probably. Let's all challenge Melody here. So probably, or is that definitely?
Nah. Yeah, actually, definitely, I can go next week.
Yeah. Okay, well, you're good because we're going to come back here and we're going to talk a long conversation. We've got some people jumping on with us next on Tuesday. We're going Tuesday because Global Party is equinox. Equinox is when day and night are the same all around the world. So we're going to put in a lot of good positive energy. So Melody's going to be on at 7 o'clock on 7 o'clock Dublin time. Okay, but 3 o'clock. No, is it 3 o'clock?
2 o'clock your time.
4 o'clock. No, 3 o'clock Eastern time. 3 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Dublin, because our clocks change. And so we're going to have an action-packed couple hours here with conversation and with a lot of extra special guests that are going to have some great questions besides just my interaction with Melody.
Which Melody really, really enjoys and inspired by.
Well, it's part of it all. And then, so you actually can get next Thursday off, so you can come back. You get that whole week. And then when you come back on the following week, we'll know exactly what's going on. Okay, speaking of sisters, hold on here. Speaking of sisters, you can do something as simple as going for a walk.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, I have met some great people just going for a walk and going out and about, right? It's that whole point of setting an intention, being open to it, and then showing out how it happens.
Yeah.
So is there any other last hot little tip you want to leave them besides the fact that, keep the door closed when you finally do bring the guy home? No.
communicate with your children, and also know that when you have a healthy, happy relationship, you're giving your children to also have the gift of also having that and the permission.
Perfect. This is obviously an ongoing conversation too. So please leave your other comments or other questions. Get in touch with Melody if you'd like some direct coaching at heartpassioninstitute.com. We have, if you still are concerned about opening your heart, she's got a 7-part series just to help you start to let go and open up to that possibility that it's okay to trust and believe that there is someone else that can come into your life. So thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.